Smoak.
Tomorrow at 11:30 at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame on I-35 in Waco, right off the campus of Baylor, there's a luncheon, the Lone Star Luncheon. The Rangers will be there. Not all of them. Eric Nadel, Hall of Fame broadcaster, will be there. Tony Beasley, Cody Bradford, who pitched at Baylor, Brett Hayes and Josh Smith, and the World Series Championship Trophy on display. The luncheon's 11:30 until, I think, 1:30. Then there's a media session, and then open to the public at 2:30 until 4. It's free if you want to get a picture, if it's available, and as long as they continue to take pictures of the championship trophy. Cody Bradford, who we talked to, remember, the day after they won the World Series, joins us on 365 Sports. Have you come out of Cloud 9 yet?
Honestly, I still don't think so.
How much do you, or when did you start to get ready for the spring training?
I actually started the day after the World Series parade. I know it doesn't sound like a whole lot of downtime, but guys, I think in my situation, who still have a lot to prove and still need to make the team, have to go out and prove to the coaches at spring and be ready. And so for me, that involves getting ready the first day off season, starting to prep. So,
Cody, can you describe what the butterflies, the feeling, the emotions are from regular, like the way it jumps up from regular season to wild card to division to all that, like the way that like it ramps up until that World Series when you hear, here's your American League champion Rangers, before you even played a game at all in that. What is that like to deal with mentally, emotionally?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, honestly. I think it was an interesting dynamic with the amount of distractions that Major League Baseball can bring, especially with playoffs was new. But I think if you're able to just separate baseball from the distractions and say, hey, here's my job. I'm a relief pitcher. I come out of the bullpen. I need to get 3 outs. If you can just focus on the job at hand, it quiets down the distractions, and then you can use that excitement the playoffs brings, right? That the ALCS, that the World Series brings, to just heighten your senses and do your job even better. I guess that's the way I kind of went about it.
So besides the experience, Cody, of having pitched in some big games, big postseason games, that seasoning, what did you learn from that experience that you gathered from start to especially the finish last year? What makes you a better player now as a result of that, besides just the experience itself?
Yeah, I think I learned a lot about myself as a pitcher. Learned kind of what works and what doesn't work at the big league level that I might have gotten away with in AAA or in AA last year or the year before, and then kind of just what I need to, what is expected of me more moving forward. And that helps me prepare in the off season a little bit better, helps me focus a little bit more on, maybe pitch design instead of, the strength and conditioning side. Maybe I need to work a little bit more on, adding an extra pitch instead of just getting stronger necessarily. So kind of how to tailor the off season, and then also just how to limit distractions during the season. I think I learned a lot about that this year, having some time in the big leagues.
Are the playoffs like like when you're in college, you can have like the full, 16, 18 week semester, right? And then you can have like the summer sessions that are like 9. Is that like the rapid fire? Like I better like I'll learn about myself really quickly and what works and what doesn't more now, because you could have had a nice outing in August sometime, but maybe not everybody had their best stuff that day, as opposed to it's October 10th. You got to win this game and everybody's locked in.
Yeah, I think there's not as many opportunities in the playoffs. And so when you get one, you're absolutely right. Like it's a crash course on, you better be really, really in tune with what works for you. And it's once you get to the playoffs, it's not really about, hey, let me find out what works for me. Like you kind of need to know that beforehand, and then have confidence going in and be really confident in your stuff and how you want to attack each guy moving forward in the playoffs.
Cody, you were highly recruited. You ended up at Baylor. Obviously, you have Major League Baseball talent and arm, but when was the first time that somebody told you you might be a pro prospect? And what was that conversation like?
It was probably my sophomore year of college at Baylor, coming off the Big 12 Pitcher of the Year, had some success that year, and then got invited to the Cape Cod League and to try out for Team USA. And I think it was kind of when I was between the Cape Cod League and trying out for Team USA, when I was around some of the other really high caliber guys in college, that a couple guys and you know, my coaches, Coach Strauss and Coach Rod at Baylor at the time, were like, hey, you have an opportunity to do something big here and you know, to go as far as you want to go in baseball, but it's going to be up to you. And that was kind of the first time I heard that, and the first time I honestly started thinking about playing professionally was probably when I made the jump that summer.
So, Cody, I know when teams go off and win championships, a lot of times after the fact, somebody will say, like, I knew it, I could feel it, I could sense it. Did you get a special feeling about this team? Did you kind of have that feel early on that some people get, that something special is going to happen if, you know, obviously things like health can stay the course?
No, I wish I could say yes to that, but honestly, like, our last regular season series was in Seattle, and all we had to do was win 2 games that week to clinch the AL West, and we couldn't get it done. And we did make playoffs with a one win that weekend, but I think that was a real gut punch to most of us. I think most of the team was like, hey, the AL West is ours. We're going to make a deep playoff push. And then when we didn't clinch and we saw Houston clinch, we're kind of like, oh man, like, our backs are up against the wall. From then on out, there's no expectations. We just want to play as much baseball and as good as baseball as we can.
Do you get to take the World Series trophy around like they do with the Stanley Cup?
I personally don't, but I think the event tomorrow, I think the Rangers Caravan, I think it's somebody's job to travel with that trophy wherever it goes. And to be honest, I'm not sure whose it is, but that would be a pretty cool job.
I'm a clumsy person. So if I was there and they handed me the trophy, I would be like, you better snap a picture fast because I'm handing it to the next person as soon as I can. Were you like that a little bit? I mean, it's the World Series trophy. You do want to hold it, but I would just be nervous that I'd be the guy that, like, dropped it.
No, we were so excited when we first got it in Arizona right after the game. We were so excited to pass it around and each take turns, you know, with our families. And my wife and my parents and my sister were there, and, you know, everybody was lined up to hold the trophy and get a picture with their parents and family. So it's a really cool thing to do. And if you have an opportunity tomorrow to come out and do it, then I highly recommend it.
Cody, I hate asking this because there's so. I mean, I'm a lifelong Rangers fan, so there were so many cool moments throughout that postseason. As you know, it's hard to pick just one, like your favorite child, right? But I mean, from the Houston series, and then, you know, to basically dominate Arizona, just what stands out to you, I guess, the most from that just run? That if you had to start the story, so to speak, what are you starting with?
I mean, I would, besides winning every single road game, which I don't think any of us really realized until the final game and until it kind of came out in the press. My favorite individual moment was in Game 1 of the World Series when Corey Seager tied it up with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the ninth. I had pitched earlier that game and pitched a scoreless inning and got to be in the dugout, so I was a little bit closer to the action. And gosh, the emotions that Corey showed after he hit that bomb, and then, like, the eruption from the crowd, that, and then Adolis, you know, calling final in the bottom of the 11th. Those two moments are by far my favorite of the whole postseason.
Is Corey Seager the toughest hitter in Major League Baseball to get a book on, where you can go, well, I know that he can't hit this, so that's what I'm going to do, because I don't really think there's much, especially given the amount of work he puts into hitting, that you can fool him on?
Yeah, I think he's got to be one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball, if not the best. And I mean, what a just locked in human being. Like, at all times of the day, as soon as he gets to the field to when he leaves, like, he's always locked in thinking about something. And he takes that to every at bat. And I mean, I'm so glad he's on my team and I don't have to pitch against him. I'll say that.
What was the loudest moment? Was it Seager in the first game against the Diamondbacks, or was it perhaps an Adolis homer?
Oh gosh. To be honest, I think I blacked out on both homers. So to me, in my own head, I was screaming just as loud for both, but I really couldn't tell you which one was louder.
Yeah, that Corey one was just so clutch, though. Like in that moment, I mean, you guys are about to lose that game, and then you need like a miracle, and here's the miracle, man, stepping up and just cranking one. But how he's asking about, do you think that having the indoor, I've asked a few Rangers beat writers, but you can speak better to this. Do you think that that was an aid as well in the Rangers organization getting over the top? You know, the conversation, the hot summers at the ballpark in Arlington, just how much of an advantage do you think that there is having that indoor ballpark as opposed to the olden days, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely keeps guys fresher longer into the season. So whereas you like at the old stadium in Arlington, you might start having guys poop out, you know, honestly after All-Star break when the summer gets really hard and it starts to drag on, but or it gets really hot, and now like you kind of stay fresh all year. And I think like Simeon could attest to that. The guy didn't miss hardly any games this year. He might have played every single one, started every single one, and like you just don't have that in Texas. So definitely at the old stadium in the heat, that's probably a record that would have never happened. But you know, now it does because we got indoor and we got AC.
So DeGrom's out for a while, and obviously Scherzer's out for a while. Evaldi had an unbelievable postseason like he did one year, of course, or like he's done with Boston. Do you pay attention? How do you look at the depth chart? Like you mentioned, you still have to prove yourself, even though you did with huge moment in the postseason. How do you kind of go about looking at the depth chart with what you have with the rotation and also in the bullpen?
Yeah, you know, you don't look too much at the depth chart, but you just understand that there's going to be opportunities and kind of wherever that comes, whether it's in a bullpen role or a starter role, whatever that role may be, right? I just want to be a contributor. And so kind of planning the off season, it's not really for a certain role that I'm planning for. It's just to be the best version of myself going into spring training and whatever that looks like. And so, you know, you don't want to look too much at the depth chart because there's so many moves that can happen in an off season that's just out of your control. And so you just try to control, you know, your effort and your attitude moving forward. And so looking to next year, whatever opportunity and role is available, you know, that's how I want to contribute to the team.
Cody, I asked you this when we had a chance to visit with you after you got back from the parade and all the things that went down with the World Series about Mitch Thompson. Tough first year, very tough year. But it appears as if you, Max Muncy, and some others that have been in that program before trying to get him at least a fair or even playing ground. Is that still there? Is that momentum that's building?
Yeah, I had time to talk and sit down and talk with Coach Thompson this offseason, kind of right after I got back from some offseason stuff. And gosh, he's definitely got a good mindset moving forward for this season, and the improvements that has already been made from last season, and just the excitement that he has around the guys coming in. And I think there were definitely some learning curves coming over from MCC and just in college baseball in general with the NIL stuff. You know, that's a whole different game that I think Baylor's going to have to learn how to compete with other big Power 5 schools like a TCU or an LSU, teams that are going to have a lot of outside money coming in. Baylor's just going to have to learn, you know, and it's going to be on me, the alumni, the boosters, the fans, you know, people that want Baylor to succeed are going to have to start putting some money out there. You know, as odd as that sounds, like we're going to have to start helping out the team and doing what we can do from the outside to get the caliber of players they're going to help the program moving forward.
All right, you're a pitcher. You're going to give up home runs. You're going to lose games. That's part of the mix. You also won big moments. Without you, they don't have the postseason run because you came up with a huge moment. Is it like being a cornerback who gives up a touchdown pass or a kicker who misses a field goal? Is that the same mentality as a pitcher?
Yeah, I think you have to have a short memory. You know, the most important pitch is the one that you're making. You can't think too much about the next pitch, and you can't think too much about the pitch you just made that might have gone over the fence or might have gotten hit really hard for a line drive out. All you can do is control the pitch you're making, and in that sense, yeah, I guess it's kind of like a field goal kicker. You just control that kick right there.
Congratulations. We'll see you tomorrow at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, the World Series Championship Trophy. Cody Bradford, Rangers pitcher, with us on 365 Sports. Cody, thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Thanks for having me.
Cody Bradford, good dude.